Welcome to the Tenant Podcast. My name is Todd Pearson here in Denver, Colorado, here with my partner in crime and friend, Wes Brown in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Hey,
Wes,
Todd. I'm doing
doing?
fantastic. Oh my God. Today was my last day at work before I take my week-long trip to hell in Arizona. So spending a couple days in Colorado, a couple days in Utah, and then I'll be back next Sunday. So I'm pumped. So this is going to be a fun night.
You're driving into the beast, the belly
belly of the beast.
The COVID beast.
Yep. I'm bringing my mask and my gloves and my disinfectant, and we're going for it.
Right on.
This might be the last interview.
Be careful, dude.
No.
You need to be careful.
I know.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to edit these, and
yeah, that'll be fun.
That would be terrible.
Anyway, no, I'm excited tonight.
I am very excited for tonight's interview. Tonight, we are bringing to you a great interview with a Denver artist. Her name is Lisa DiAmor Sanchez. Lisa, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Nice to see your smiling face.
Thank you.
I do not personally know you, but we have a lot of mutual friends in common and a lot of artist friends, Bob Ragland being one of those. I know that you know Arlette and Steve Lucero. Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
And my sister, Renee Fajardo, you know her? She runs a program out of Metro State University called Journey Through Our Heritage.
Okay. I know of her. I don't know her personally.
Okay.
Though.
All right.
That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So I was looking at all your friends that we
Yeah. You know, sometimes you have friends, but you're not necessarily in real life friends.
Friends. They're virtual friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, nice to see you. And I'm glad that you were willing to spend a little bit of time with us on a Friday evening. Wes and I were joking around. Like, what do you do during a pandemic, especially if you're if you're two middle-aged guys, you don't have anything else to do but do a podcast. And so we're excited to have you on and do this. Let's get right into it. You are a Denver native?
I am. Yes. I was born, I think I was born in Denver. I think at St. Joseph.
Okay.
Yeah. Long time ago. I can't really remember.
Vague memory of that. My memory was really dark, and then it was really light, and then 4 years later I can start to remember.
Exactly.
Sorry.
You told me when I was talking to you about coming on the podcast that your dad was a sports writer. Is that correct?
That's true. Yep. For the Denver Post.
Okay. And one of the things that that you guys did and still do as a family is that you flip houses.
Yes, we do.
How did that come about?
You know, I'm not even really sure. I have memories of doing it. I think one of my first jobs was peeling wallpaper because that was a big thing in the 70s or maybe 80s. I don't know. So that would be my job when I was 10 or 11. We'd go in, and my dad, since he had the Bronco beat, he had a lot of off time also. So when they weren't playing, he would cover some random things, but then he'd have, weeks at a time. So we'd either move into the house and work on it while we were living there, or we'd just flip it while we were still in another house, which was a quicker flip. And I think maybe just because he had downtime, I think my dad kind of has hustle because he also would write for Sports Illustrated and Sporting News. So he kind of always had these side gigs too. So I think flipping houses was just something he knew how to do, and he likes doing it. He loves taking something, that's been maybe neglected and making beautiful. So.
Right on. How did that play? Yeah. How does that play into your art, that entrepreneurial spirit and being an artist?
I think I was born to create. I mean, my mom is an artist also, and growing up, we made like everything, like toys. My dad built me a dollhouse. We made all the furniture. We did all this stuff. So I think just flipping houses, everything I do is very physical, and I'm really good at the painting. And I think all of us can see what something can be. So we take maybe a house that's really sad and it has good bones. So you can be like, I can make this beautiful, which is the same thing with my art. And I think that also plays into the type of art I do, because everything I create is made with upcycled materials. So I don't buy anything new if I don't have to. So I try and salvage as much as I can out of the house. So I'll be breaking down the cupboards or the old fence or, everything. Like I really believe that there's enough stuff without like purchasing new stuff or using new resources. So I try and salvage everything. So that also plays into my art, if that was an answer to your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're doing work in these houses or when you're out and about, you can look at something old or something that's been discarded and pre-visualize a piece of art.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's really cool. I think, I'm always in awe when people have that ability to kind of go, oh, I know exactly what I could do with that, or I'm going to,
yeah.
or
Yeah, exactly.
it's a gift, because I don't know that I have that, but I'm a photographer. So, I see stuff, but not like you that, sees an object or has a found object that you go, okay, I know what I can do with this, or I've been searching for this particular thing to create with. So that's really cool.
That's
Now,
true.
obviously you grew up in an artistic household. Did you pursue art in college?
I did not. I went to school for psychology. And I really had this kind of this need to kind of be helpful and save the world kind of mentality. And so I thought I was going to be a therapist or social worker or something like that. Meanwhile, I've always been creating, so I did that on the side. And then I kind of started working in my field, and it was kind of just not. It was too mentally draining for me. I wasn't really good at it. I think I absorb more of the people's emotions and stuff rather than being helpful. So I decided that wasn't really the route for me. But I do I've taken my degree and kind of put it into my art. Some people tell me my art is actually like therapy, because I do a lot of writing and a lot of words, and a lot of my customers are therapists or like nonprofits, stuff like that. Places where people are trying to do something to help people. They like my art because of what it means to them, what it says, how it motivates or helps or heals people. So I think I kind of circled back to art, but I think it was good for me to go to school because of my background helps in that way.
Gotcha. Describe, first of all, I love your art. It's what I love about it is, and Wes and I were discussing it before you came on. I like that it's accessible, and it makes me, when I look at it, it makes me happy. It's uplifting. It's very colorful, and kind of describe what you do.
So I start with, usually it's mostly wood. I think that's the easiest, it's the most salvageable type of material, but, and then I layer lots and lots of paint. I'm all about color. I like art that has a lot of energy and has good energy. So anything I put on there is like positive, and it's, when I'm creating, I try and be in a good, happy place or a thoughtful place. And then I try and tell a story, and each piece is original. So I'll layer, there'll be subtext, there'll be words that you never see, there'll be thoughts that you never see, but you may feel. And I just keep layering and layering until it feels done. And then the story's told, and sometimes there may be similar messages, but the subtext will be different. It could take it in a different way. You may connect with it in a different way, depending on the piece. Like if you see two of the same messages, one could be totally being taken in a different direction with the subtext.
So your subtext is literally buried beneath layers of paint a lot of times.
Absolutely. There's subtext buried and there's subtext you'll see, but yeah, there's kind of both. It's great because when I'm working, I just layer and I'm like, I just keep layering. And then all of a sudden I just know when I'm done. I always have this kind of feeling, because people always ask me, how do you know when to stop? How do you know when you're done? And it's just a feeling. I just know it. I'm like that in touch with the art, I guess.
And so you don't necessarily, and I'm assuming here, it sounds like you don't necessarily start with a plan or an idea. Do you just kind of approach the blank canvas and let it talk to you and start to see where your mood and the message you...
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely so I notice sometimes when I'm creating, I work on like probably 20 to 30 pieces at a time. And so there'll be like this whole like collection of art that you can kind of, I know, maybe not everybody else knows, or maybe they feel it. It'll all kind of have this similar vibe, whether it's like bright, like I think during COVID, I was all about hope and that energy and like just trying to put some good vibes out there for everybody.
So does any of your stuff turn dark? Do you allow your dark side to come out, or, maybe you're feeling a little down, or does any of that come through your work, or do you try to be all positive?
I like to be positive. I mean, I'm generally a positive person and I'm pretty optimistic and happy. So I feel like there's enough of that kind of stuff out there. So I really just, if I'm feeling that way, I don't really want to create, actually. Okay. I usually just kind of become whatever I need to be, and then I'll go back, because I want to be like a light for people. I want them to feel good. So yeah, it's a way to do that.
And I think it's kind of funny because other artists, they really tap into their darker side, and that's what feeds their creativity, where, obviously, like you said, you're really pulling for the positive, partly because it's inherent in you. And another way, you want to bring light. So I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
So you said, and I saw a video, but you work on multiple pieces at a time. And I saw this great video that was on, I think it was on your blog, but you had like, I don't know, like 15 pieces laid out there, and you're like just squirting different colors on each and every one. And then you just go through on each one and kind of like work those colors. Is that the way it works?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I just layer it because I love texture too. So I think that's really important. And that kind of helps to kind of just make each piece its own. Like we'll start with that. And then as I go to the next layer and the next layer, then I start individualizing the pieces. So I may take one and then I'm like going to add these words, and then I'm going to tell this story, and kind of, and then it just kind of evolves on its own. Like the art, there'll be some words and I'll see that, and then it'll spark something. And then I'm like, oh, I need to put this on this message or this picture or whatever it is. It kind of just happens.
So typography is very important to you.
Oh, I love typography.
Yeah. Yes. So are those hand-drawn letters, or to use stencils, or how do you?
I silkscreen.
Oh.
And I also do, and I love the mix. This is one thing that I love is I've collected handwriting samples over the years, old love letters, notes from family, from weddings, just anytime I think I can get a sample. And my boys, I have 2 boys. As they've grown up, I've collected their handwriting. So I turn that into a screen, then I can add it on over the years. Because I really like the look of the text and then the handwriting.
That's really cool.
So you're making your screens at home as well, I'm assuming.
I'm actually not. I pay a guy because I just didn't really want to do that part of it. But I create all the artwork, put it together, and then he burns them for me. So that's the part I don't do.
Okay. Yeah, because that's a whole process, and it
is
laborious at times. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I think that's smart, though. I mean, some people, we've talked to sculptors, and some of them, they send out. Well, I'm thinking of John Lopez, Wes. So he to cast his bronzes that he uses in his found object metal sculptures, he sends that out. He has somebody else do that for him. So I think if that's not something in the process that you want to take on, and it takes away from the experience, I think you're smart to contract that out to somebody else.
Yeah.
How long have you been a full-time artist?
Full time, so my boys were 17 and I think they were about 2. I was going through a divorce and I had always been doing it, but just on the side. And I was kind of freaked out a little bit because I didn't really have a full-time job and I didn't know if I could make enough money selling art. But I kind of had to. So we went through the divorce. I really wanted to keep the house. So I kind of just jumped in. And fortunately, I was kind of at a transition point anyway. I was starting to meet a lot of people, and a friend of mine asked me to be in her store. And I was just like, I can't work it or anything, but if you want to sell my art, great. And so she did. And from that, I got other stores, and then I started doing more shows, and I just jumped in like full time that summer. And I made a ton of money. I was able to buy him out of the house. I worked really hard. And then I kind of was established and I had made a lot of connections. And then I could kind of step back and kind of say, okay, I just want to do this. I don't want to do everything. I just want to do the things that are profitable. And so that was 15 years ago.
Wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's impressive. To be in that point in your life, which is a difficult transition.
Yeah.
To jump in with both feet and say, this is what I'm going to do, and to make that happen.
Yeah.
You have to be pretty. You have to be pretty industrious and pretty motivated to.
100%. Yes, you do. And I was very motivated. And I also love the idea of being able to be really flexible and be available for my boys, because I was a single parent and I didn't want to have to put them in daycare. So I could work. I put them to bed and I would get up I'd get up from, reading to them or whatever. And I go downstairs and work in my studio and just create art like when they slept. So I definitely hustled.
All about the hustle. That's why Bob Ragland loves you.
Yeah.
He's all about the hustle,
awesome.
Man.
Yeah, he really is. That's fun.
That first year, you already had some connections with some stores. Do you still sell your stuff, your art in different boutiques or what have you?
So it was interesting. And I think this is one of the really important things for artists is you have to adapt constantly. I feel like every year I'm doing something different. So that first year, it was probably a full year. I had crazy sales. Like I couldn't keep up. And then I don't even know what happened. If it was the economy, maybe, but almost all the stores I had, like maybe within 2 years, they were closing. And I was doing shows. So then I kind of jumped a little more into shows and let the stores kind of pass. Because it was nice because I wasn't having to travel to shows because I just took art to the stores. And then I did more shows. And so right now I only have 2, well, actually really only 1 store. So I was a part of Chalk Gallery for a long time. And then Crystal O'Brien opened up a little store / boutique. And so I sell out of her store as well. Okay. And I'm connected to another store, but I don't really sell out of it. I'll do like gallery events there.
Nice.
So you're doing more shows now than...
Yeah, I've really transitioned mostly to shows. I did some gallery stuff, but that was never like a huge income for me. Mm-hmm. It felt more like just a way to connect with people. And so I made friends, I'd make connections, and I would eventually sell, but just selling off a gallery wall was hit or miss.
And then,
so I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I mostly transitioned to festivals, which is such good money. It's super fun. People are excited to be there. They want art. They really want original art. They are excited to be able to afford original art. So I do festivals. And when my boys got a little bit older, I only did them in Colorado for a while till they were probably about 10 or 11. And then I started traveling out of state.
So how many festivals before the pandemic, obviously, how many festivals were you doing on average, give or take?
I'd say probably 10 to 15.
Okay. And that's pretty, and that's pretty focused in a certain part of the year, right? Obviously.
Oh yeah. Summer. Yeah. I don't really work from December to probably my first show is in May. So, I'll do production, I'll be creating, but I take a few months off where I just don't do anything because you're working so hard in the summer. So once December hits, I'm all about family. Then I take a couple months off, don't do anything. And then I start creating again. So the festival circuit, some people do it all year, but I only do it from May to like October, November. And that's not even that much in October, November. It's like 1 or 2. And then the rest is like May through September.
Yeah, we met an artist from, I think he was from Maine or Massachusetts now, I forgot. Remember at the Cherry Creek Arts Festival, and he would do the Southern tour and then the Northern tour and then come out West. So that was, he was pretty much doing festivals almost all year round. That's a lot of work.
That's hard. And I want to be with my kids. So I don't mind doing it in the summer, and I'll take them with me sometimes. But I don't want to be working that hard. When they go to college, I might do a little bit more just to expose myself to different shows and a different audience. But I mostly stay fairly close and just summer.
Where all do you go for these festivals? What states does it take you?
I go to Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Texas, New Mexico. I think that's it. Idaho. I've been there once. I try and do like one new state a year. So I'm traveling a little bit further, but not too far. But Kansas, oh my gosh, it's the best show ever. The one I do there. Nebraska, the Midwest is really good for art shows. Iowa is amazing. I'm not really sure why, but I don't think they have as many art shows. I think Denver can be a little oversaturated with art shows. So you're competing a lot.
So getting out and about to those Midwestern states has been lucrative.
Yes, very.
So when you go out on these shows, and because of the season, do you do multiple shows when you go out at one time, or is it one show here and then you come back and you're here for a week or so and then you're back out on the road? How does that work?
Yes, that's how I do it. Some people do it where they'll line them up. So on their way to somewhere, they'll be doing a show on their way to another show. And I usually am out and back. I come home and and I have been able to stagger them just so I only really do about 2 a month, or if I'm doing more than 2 a month, there's the other ones are here, they're local. So I'm just gone for the weekend.
So what are some of your favorite shows? You said Kansas is a really great state, and Nebraska.
Yes. My favorite all-time show is probably out of state is the Smoky Hill River Festival in Salina, Kansas. And it is, when I first pulled up to the show, I met another artist, and she was like, you have to do the show. So I signed up for it. And it was actually my first festival out of state. And so I was really nervous, and I pulled up and I thought, it's a small town. So I thought, who are these people going to like my art? Is there enough people? I brought a ton of art. And I'm setting up, and my boys were in Nebraska, so I was going to pick them up on my way home. And a couple hours went and I hadn't sold anything. And I thought, oh my gosh, I brought too much art. I'm not going to have any room for my kids when I go back. And like within the next 2 hours, I was thinking I did not bring enough art. I literally almost sold out. Like, so crazy. I mean, people, once it kind of caught on, it was just busy. I had to take down panels just so my booth didn't look empty because it was just getting wiped out. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a good position.
Yeah, it's a great show, super supported by the community, and I've made friends, but like I still I didn't get to go back this year, and I was sad because you make all these connections with the other artists and the people that come to the show. So that's kind of hard.
So you said these shows are lucrative. How much can a person, obviously it depends on the art and the artist, but what kind of sales do you do on an average weekend at a festival? Because I know some people that I've talked to, they just don't want to do these shows because of, how much work it is. That's my guess, but it sounds like, you do really well.
Well, so you can make, it depends on what kind of art you make. Like my art is more affordable, so my numbers may not be as high as other people, but I usually sell between $5,000 and $10,000 at a show. Wow. And then I also get sales afterwards. So the best part about doing a show is you make these connections. and people like you and they're like, oh my gosh, I need this. So they keep calling you. So you're building this audience. So it's not just about selling at the show. It's, what would you say? Like it's building the future, future sales maybe.
Residual sales after the fact.
Oh yeah, that's a good word. Yeah.
So would you say, are your sales like they want to see other stuff you're doing, or do you do commissions?
I do commissions, or they'll be like, somebody will see theirs, what they bought, and then they'll call you or they'll forward the thing and the order off your website, but probably, mostly people want something special. Like they want a certain quote or they want this and this color, so yeah, a lot of it is commissions and I'm happy to do those, because it's actually really cool because if I know the person or I've met them or I get to know a little bit about them, I can tell more of their story in the art. So I can even make it a little more personal for them.
I think emerging artists, and this would be a good time to ask this, I think a lot of emerging artists have a hard time figuring out what price point they should be at. So how did you figure out how you wanted to price stuff? Is it by time it took you to do it or size or?
I do it by size. So right now my price is $100 per square foot. I just do it that way based on, it makes it easier for me. So like I can just do stuff in my head quickly. And 100 is easy to multiply by. But I started out probably lower than I should have, but I wanted to know. So when I started selling out of stuff like super quickly, I'm like, okay, this isn't enough money. And I have to know my time, and my materials are mostly free. So I don't have to figure that cost in. So I know what I needed to make and to make it affordable. And I want it to be accessible. I think sometimes there's these ridiculous prices and nobody can afford that. And then they are buying prints and stuff, which is fine too. But sometimes having the energy of original art is really, really amazing. And so I want that for everybody.
Yeah.
It's definitely more of a special thing when you have an original piece. And
yeah.
And what you mentioned earlier, we hear this time and time again. The connection that you make with people is really important.
Mm-hmm.
People want to know, you enjoy talking with the people, but people really want to know the artist. They want to know who this person is from Colorado that creates this really beautiful art. So that really comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
So what percentage would you say are your sales like after the fact compared to like the festivals? Obviously the festivals are the big money maker, where you sell most of the art, but then do you sell a lot of art via your website throughout the year?
I don't normally. I mean, I'll sell some here and there. I've sold more during COVID, more than I'm used to, which has been nice. I've had to kind of pivot again and promote that a little bit more since I've had more time. Usually I sell, like, I'll make a bunch of art. I'll go to a show and like sell most of it. So then I'm having to come home, make a bunch more. And so I didn't really have time to put it on my website. So now web sales are a little bit better, but usually it's actually people just calling me wanting something, a commission. And I honestly have no idea what, because it's not a direct, like I'm at the show and then it's immediately after. It's kind of like throughout the year, people are reaching out. So I don't always even know what show they saw me at. So it's hard to say, but I do pretty good with commissions too. And I've been commissioned to do like art for like apartment complexes. And so I'll do several pieces for one big, when they're doing a build out and stuff. So I feel like you're always kind of working. Like, even if I'm at a party or out to dinner or meeting new people, you're just always wanting to make that connection because you never know who's going to want art. So I'm always, just being available and accessible at all times, really.
So when you get a commission, what is that conversation typically like? They call you, they have an idea because they've already seen your art, or they call you up and go, I just need something for my house or my cabin or whatever they have going on. And, you start talking with them and they kind of tell you a little bit about who they are and their story, and you kind of surmise from that what direction you're going to go? How does that work? Because I know that other artists that we've talked to as of late, there's a whole conversation where he's like sending like progression photos of that particular piece. Is that something that you do?
Sometimes I do. If I feel like I'm not sure what color they're thinking, or usually I start out with like, my art, what if they basically know what I do and they love it, they're usually happy with whatever I do. If I'm a little questioning like their, the color or something, I'll send a picture before I lay down like the final messages, just because I don't want them be like, that's not the right color or something. But for the most part, usually they're just like, I want this, and I want to say something like this. So I'll think of what to say and tell them the story and what direction I want to go. I definitely want to hear their story because I want to put that in there so they can have that feeling about it. But I don't necessarily send that many pictures. Usually they're just happy with what I do because they already know me and they trust me.
Gotcha. It's a nice position to be in.
Yeah.
Do you utilize social media a lot to like, do you get sales off social media, like posting stuff that you're working on at the time and people reaching out to you going, oh, I love that piece, I want to buy it?
Yeah, I do. Not as much as I would think. I feel like I could do it better, but sometimes by the time I get a picture up on social media, the art's already sold because I'm making it for somebody else or something. So I need to get ahead of it. So I need to like have a painting and then put it up and then be like, this is for sale. But I feel like if I'm at a show or I've just done that store, like I did a couple of pop-up markets and almost everything sold. So I didn't really have anything to kind of keep putting up on mine. I know a lot of people like put it up, sell it, but usually I've already sold it. So then I'm like, I can't put that picture up because it's already gone. So if I could get ahead of it, I think I would sell more, but I haven't quite mastered that yet.
So we know you use Instagram. Do you use Facebook and Twitter or anything else? TikTok or?
I use Facebook a lot. I actually probably get most of my sales from Facebook. I don't use Twitter because I can't get back into it. I can't figure out my password or something. So I haven't used Twitter. And I don't know if TikTok would be, I don't know enough about it if it would be good for art. So
yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around it too. I know it's little short videos and stuff, but I know there's a lot of talk about it. So, but
I probably should. I think it's a good idea, especially if you get in on the early stages.
There's people that use Reddit and, a lot of those kind of things. Do you have a LinkedIn page where you talk about your profession, that kind of deal, or not so much?
I do have LinkedIn, but I feel like it takes all like my brain waves to do Instagram and Facebook. I feel so proud of myself when I get up and post that day. I'm like, I did it. I'm done. I just think I'm a different generation, a little bit older. And
I definitely resemble that remark.
We feel you.
It takes all of my energy, and I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good at my art. So I'm happy to just go and get lost in my art. So I have to remember to stop, take a picture, and go through those whole stages. And when I do, I feel very successful. I don't do it as much as I should though.
Well, you're successful without doing it. So keep
and
doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it works for me. And I really do believe in the relationships I create constantly. That just really helps me.
So do you, okay, I'm sorry. Can I jump in? Can I stay in? I'll tap you when I'm out. So, the next question, because you're talking about the relationships you build, do you collect email addresses, for like a newsletter or anything like that? How do you keep connected to your patrons?
I guess Facebook, really. Okay. I really don't have, I've collected email addresses, but I've never done anything with them. Mm-hmm. I'm not that organized. I'm definitely, I just like to wing it constantly. And
Sure.
I think people find me. Like I don't know why. I don't know why I've been so fortunate, but people just find me when they want to buy art, and I'm happy to make it.
I get the feeling, and I'm going to tap in a little bit here. I get the feeling that, you kind of, and this is going to sound weird, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you kind of put it out there, whether it's through, to the universe or whatever, and then people pick up on that and move. I mean, does that sound totally weird?
That sounds 100% accurate. I
Yeah.
believe in the universe taking care of you, and it's always taking care of me for sure.
Yeah, I got that feeling. I don't know why. I just got that vibe from you that
That's cool.
Here it is. I'm just going to put it out there and it'll take care of itself and people will contact me when they're ready.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not a salesperson at all. Like I definitely am available and people will see my art and they love it. And if they want to buy it, they do. And if they don't, I'm like, when you're ready, you're ready. And that works for me. I had a guy one time come into my booth. He was a jeweler next to me and he's like, do you even know how to sell your art? You're not talking to anybody. And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm being friendly. He's like, you need to say stuff about your art. You need to sell it. And you need to constantly be out here, like come out of your booth and engage. And I'm like, everyone that comes in, I engage and I say hello and I'm friendly. And he just couldn't like get over the fact that I didn't do that. That was the art show in Kansas, by the way, that I almost sold out of. And he packed up his booth during the middle of the art show and left because he hadn't sold anything. Because he was one busy trying to get me to sell when I was selling, and I don't know why he was trying to change who I am. But I don't think you can sell a connection. Like if someone sees my art and they fall in love with it, if I'm like trying to talk them into it, I could change that feeling. So I want them to sit with it and go, this is what I want.
Yeah. All right, Todd, I'm tapping you in. Sitting back now.
So that's really interesting because, this is why we're talking right now is that here comes my dog.
Peace happy.
This is why we're talking right now is because, I saw your art and I was like, wow, it's, I like that. It's really beautiful. It spoke to me and it was uplifting. And especially during this time where it's been kind of, all this craziness in the world. I thought, wow, this is somebody I want to talk to. So, I think your art speaks for itself. And the fact that you're positive, this jeweler guy sounds like maybe he was kind of a negative Nelly, right? Like,
yeah.
And people pick up on that. And when you project that, like Wes was saying, when you put that out to the universe, it kind of comes back to you. And so if it's a negative, it might not come back in a positive form. But if you're positive, like yourself, it comes back to you and, the universe takes care of you. I love that philosophy that you have.
Yes. Yes.
When you go to these art shows, like, how much art do you have to create to spend a weekend selling art? Like how many pieces are you taking on average? Obviously it varies because of size and everything else. But.
Yeah. So I try to so I have like my art ranges from about $50 to probably $1,500 is kind of my price range where I like to keep it. And so the littles, that's like my most popular one. I like to have like maybe 100 of those, maybe 150. So I probably 200 to 300, depending on the show, I like to have that much. I may not take them all, but I like to have that much for each show.
And so you take this, you kind of have an idea of how much you need to have on hand. Mm-hmm. So when you come back from one of these shows, then is it just gangbusters for like the next couple of weeks until the next show rolls around that you're like, 24/7 just creating?
Yes, it can be. One time, I think it was that same Kansas show. I sold out and I had booked another show the next weekend and I was all the way in Kansas and I had to drive home. I had to go pick up my kids. So I was going to be home till like Tuesday. And I think that show started on a Friday. And I didn't realize I was going to sell that much. I think I took more than that just because I didn't really know. So I pretty much sold out and I called my dad and I had all the wood because all of it's salvaged. So I'm constantly collecting the wood and I had him start cutting stuff for me so I could get it prepped and cut. So when I got home, I could start painting and have enough. And I didn't have that much for the next show, but I did get enough that I had a good sample to take. So it can be, but I usually try not to schedule myself like that, like not back to back.
Gotcha. So you're giving yourself enough time that it's not so stressful to have to come back, just hit it hard again before you have to go back out on the road.
Yeah. Cause I want to be thoughtful too. Like I can make a lot of stuff that looks good, but I really want to put good intention into it too.
Again, because the art speaks for itself and people relate to it.
Yeah.
Obviously you must be a master of time management to accomplish this. You're, being a mom and then having an art career, there's a balance that you have to strike. And you talked early on as far as, once you put your boys to bed, then you would go, create. Has that been difficult? Are you good at it? You must be good at it because you're doing it, but.
Yeah, I guess I am. I don't really think about it. It just comes naturally. I think the way I grew up, I don't really know. I can't answer that. I guess I'm just natural at it, but I don't consider myself an organized person or anything. I'm kind of a little bit wild, so I don't know.
So you say that, and I'm looking at this piece, and it's the patriotic piece, the flag, and I got another monitor here, so I'm looking at your Instagram page.
Cool, that's fun.
And it's kind of like a nod to the military and stuff. And so you were saying, and I look at this, and it's like there's chaos in it, but yet there's order. It's very, of course, maybe it's because it's the flag, but so it sounds like it really kind of represents where maybe you're at. You're a little chaotic, but you get her done. You got the order.
That's true. Yeah. I don't know. I always manage to do it. Sometimes I'll have a show coming up and I'm freaking out because I just don't have the art, but I always do it. I've never not shown up. So that's a really important. My whole family is this way. We always show up, we always deliver, and that's just how I am.
That's awesome.
Good philosophy right there.
Yeah.
So when you go and travel and do these things, is it just yourself? You just fly solo and you're setting up your booth, and how does that work?
So for a long time it was, when I first started doing it, when the kids were little, my parents were definitely helping a ton. Then they couldn't help as much, one, because they were helping take care of my kids while I was on the road. But now I have a boyfriend who helps me, and he's called Art Show Roadie. He has an Instagram handle.
Nice.
And so
that's awesome.
that's been amazing because I think it's good though. I think me doing it all by myself was really good for me because it makes you really tough, really good at problem solving and just on top of it. But having him has been amazing. Having a partner to take with me and help me set up and go get lunch or just have fun. We try and make it a little adventure now. Like we'll take our mountain bikes and make it a mini vacation as well when we go to the shows.
Nice. That sounds really pleasurable. Go out, sell some art,
it's really
and then go
fun.
have an adventure.
I know. So I feel like this summer has been such a bummer because every show is a mini vacation as well. I'm making a bunch of money and then I play. So it's been hard.
So what does it look like? Are there any art shows happening in the future that have not been canceled for this year?
The only one that hasn't been canceled of mine is the Affordable Arts Festival. Have you heard of that? Do you know Jim DeLutz?
I do not.
He does the Denver Arts Festival in May, and then he does the Affordable Arts Festival in August. And it's a pretty cool show because everything has to be $100 or under.
Oh, wow.
So people buy tickets. All the money goes to the Arapahoe Community College. And so it's a fundraiser for that college. And then people wait in line and they blow a horn at 9:00 and everyone rushes in. And you can get amazing deals. I mean, a lot of my art is 100 and under. So I bring all that, but then I'll have some fun pieces that I'll do just for the show. So he's thinking he can do it because they have to have tickets and you can stagger people going in. But at the same time, I'm not sure how the customers will feel because the first people in will get all the deals kind of a thing. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. He hasn't canceled it. He's still kind of putting it out there to see if he can do it. So I think that's supposed to be like the 30th of August. So I'm waiting on that. otherwise, if that one doesn't go, I have nothing.
Now that you mention that, I have heard of that show.
Okay.
I've never been to it, so I'll have to go check it.
It's worth it. You should come. You should come if they do it because it's so fun. I've got some of the coolest pieces from that show. Artists come from all over, and some artists sell for like $1,000 or $2,000. I'll have it for $100. It's
Wow.
crazy.
That is crazy.
And it can be like a maybe art that they've had around for a while, or like scratch and dent kind of a sale, or just they're doing it for just to be a part of the show.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
It's so fun.
One of the reasons that I sought you out is that I don't even know how I saw it, but I just saw these little things that you were doing, which I thought was cool. Like, I could tell that you hustle and that you are very serious about your art career. And I know that you participated in that National Arts Drive Day.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was that?
It was pretty cool. I don't know if I got any traffic from it. I actually had to pivot because I was going to do it on my porch, and the store in Old Town Arvada had asked me to do it there. So I did it out on the street in Old Town. They blocked off the streets and stuff. So it was cool. And I actually made some sales, but I'm not sure. I don't know. No one said that they came because of that. So I don't know. I think it could catch on, but I don't know. I don't know if anyone, as being a part of the group, it didn't seem like a lot of people. They had participation, but not a lot of sales necessarily.
Okay. So there was other artists that were up there participating with you. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think it would have been better had you done it at your house and you would have put it
Maybe. Yeah. I think for my neighbor, I actually have a really supportive neighborhood. I do a show at the end of the year, like a party. It's a Christmas, my holiday party. It's not really Christmas, just holiday, but so many people come. I actually do really well at that, as much as I would as like at a festival. So I think if I had done it here, it would have been, and so I think they might be doing another one. So if they do, I would do it here instead, for sure.
Okay. That's really cool that you, and smart that you have a party right before the holidays where you invite your neighborhood or neighbors or whatever, and people buy art. That's perfect.
It is. It's so fun. And I invite some of my other artists. I always try and bring in a friend that like is new or two, so I can introduce my neighborhood to new artists and support them and just have a good time.
That is really, really cool. How many years have you been doing that?
Probably about 15.
Really?
Yeah. I think I started doing it right away. I just did everything that first year.
Since we're on this subject, what kind of other little things do you do? I mean, you seem like you're pretty savvy business person. Do you have any other things, little tips or things that you've learned over the years that are that you could throw out there to other artists that might be listening to this?
I think one of the best things I did for myself is I found a community. So it started with chalk, and I just started hanging out with more artists, and other artists elevate you. You become friends with them and you learn how to make different things or resources. And like the show that I did in Kansas, I would have never known had I not had a friend who said, you need to do this. Like you find people who want to recommend stuff to you and help you along the way and kind of hold your hand and look at artists that you admire and maybe have something similar. So you can be like, do you think this would do well at this show? And I think that's another thing artists need to remember is what's good for one artist isn't good for another. Like there's not a straight line that you follow. You have to just constantly try everything and see what works for you. I think I try and say yes to as much as I can because opportunity just can come from like really surprising places.
You mentioned earlier, and I could totally see this because I've done a lot of work for home builders and apartment complexes, but you say that you get commissions to produce pieces for apartment complexes and so forth. Have you worked with interior designers?
I have off and on, not regularly, but once in a while they will reach out to me. But I always thought that would be a good way to do it, something, but I haven't really met anyone or had that happen for me. regularly. Like sometimes people will call me, like I had an art consultant reach out to me and she bought a bunch of pieces for, I think like a mental health facility that they were building. So I sold like 15 pieces to them. But yeah, not regularly. I feel like my work is just kind of sporadic. Like there's not one consistent area, maybe except for festivals. But the stuff that I do outside of festivals just can come from anywhere.
You said that and you mentioned that artists need to learn how to pivot. What kind of things have you done to try to facilitate working through this whole pandemic when a lot of the festivals have gone away and dried up?
Yeah. So I think it helps that I had that store because I did a pop-up. Like she just asked me, we were talking and she goes, hey, would you want to put your tent up? And this is the little store in Denver. It's called Bella Luna. And I'm like, okay, it was just that weekend. So last minute, we just and I hadn't done a show forever and felt very like forgetting everything. And I did great. Like I put it on Facebook and promoted it and her store did amazing. So many people came. I think people wanted to be out. It was one of the first times everything was open. And it was really good. And it was a little weird because there was just me and one other artist and, you don't know who's going to come, but it was really busy. So I think maybe looking for those kind of opportunities where the store never sells that much, but having the tents out front kind of attracted people and then you make it seem like a little more fun. And it was really successful.
Yeah, it's an event. It's an event that people can take part in. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was good because there was only 2 artists. So it wasn't like there was going to be hundreds of people all collected together at a time.
Yeah. It sounds like the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
I really like your website, the way that you have it set up. It's really easy to navigate.
Thank you.
I love that. And there's a couple other artists that have done this as well, but I love that you show a piece kind of in an environment so that people can kind of visualize that. Because I think a lot of times people need to visualize what your work would look like in their house or whatever.
I agree.
And so I love that you have a photograph of it in some kind of environmental setting. And then you have like you can look at it kind of close up and really kind of see what's going on in the piece. I think that's really smart.
Thanks.
Is that something that you just came up with on your own or it just happened?
I actually stole it from Sundance catalog. Because I was like, I had mine set up where you just see the art and I'm like, oh, I just didn't like the way it looks. And so I would never post any pictures because I didn't feel good about it. And I love Sundance. Like that's kind of my whole style. I want to dress like all the models and stuff. And I was looking at some of their art and they always have it set up like on a table. And I'm like, that looks so cool. So I just started doing it.
Fantastic.
So have you tried to connect with department stores or anything to sell your stuff? Is that anything that...
Every piece is original. So it's really hard I have actually had stores contact me. I've had people want to wholesale and I just haven't figured out how to navigate that. I don't even know if I want to. And honestly, I'm making enough money that you don't need to. And that feels like, plus they always take a big commission.
Yep.
I think that's another reason I don't do galleries and stuff like that as much. I just want to sell it because if I make all the money, I have to work less, it's easier on me. So yeah, that's not really something I'm interested. If someone makes it really easy for me, I might do that. But I have a friend in New Mexico and he has a big sale that he does and he goes to they kind of do an event at their house and he'll take my art and like sell. I think he sold out of it last December. So I'll do stuff like that and give him a commission, but he just kind of takes what I have and sells it. I don't have to figure out how to do line sheets or whatever that wholesale stuff is.
Right.
That's awesome. I think you're really smart that you offer a little bit for everyone. Like I said before, it's accessible. Like you don't have to have $1,500 in your pocket necessarily. There's a $50 piece of art that you can walk home, an original piece of art. That's great. Outside of the painting that you do, are there other things that you produce? Obviously, you're not doing prints, right?
No.
Is there any other artwork that you offer?
No, oh, I have done cards of my stuff. I do cards and I've done jewelry.
Okay.
So I like to have that. I started doing jewelry because I was going out a ton at the time. I think when I started, I was single. So I was out all the time and people are like, what do you do? And it was maybe even before Facebook and stuff. So you couldn't just, smartphones, and I didn't have a big painting to carry around. So I just took pictures of my art and made little necklaces. And so I do that too. And it kind of just supplements, but I mostly just take that to shows. I don't really sell it online or anything.
Gotcha. And I saw that you've been experimenting a little bit more during this pandemic, and you've had a little bit more time in your hands right now.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
I love assemblage art. I think it's so cool. And I've never had like the time necessarily to just sit and play like this little robot I did. I spent probably way more time on him than I should have, but it was just so fun playing and putting him together and making little arms. And I think since I love salvaging and, upcycling, it's so great to have these pieces that, I'm ripping out of cabinets or whatever, and then making them into this little creature. Or I've done some little sculptures, and I'm doing kind of the scene where it's almost I can't think of the word, like it's like me. What is that called? When you do something that's not really a self-portrait, maybe a self-portrait, but it's assemblage.
Okay.
And so it's almost like playing with dolls or something. It's just really, really fun. So I've been taking my time and doing that and having so much fun. And they're so cute. I just love it.
Now, do they move?
No. Oh, so this is funny. I also, since we've been flipping this house, when my brother he has to bring his daughters, I usually end up taking care of them and kind of being the nanny. And then we do that in my studio. And so I have all these fun pieces. And as I started making these pieces, people are calling me like, I have a box of stuff. What do you need? And so I just have a million parts. And so they've just been making. And I said, okay, today you guys, we're going to make robots. And they're like, okay. And then I started putting them together and they're like, well, how do we make them walk? Like they wanted them to be actual, like moving, talking robots. And I'm like, well, they're not really robots. They're just like art. It's not, but they wanted it to be functioning robots. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. That was pretty cute.
Is that something that
awesome.
you'd be interested in exploring? How to make like either kinetic sculpture or figuring out how to assemble something that would move?
I don't know. I probably don't know. I mean, maybe not if it involves math, probably not, but otherwise, I don't know. I love playing with all these parts and making art like out of just random scrap material is so cool.
So do you frequent like garage sales and thrift stores and that sort of thing to find some of your stuff?
Absolutely. I love thrift stores. Not as many garage sales, but definitely thrift stores. And just there's some railroad tracks behind where I live that I walk my dogs. And I think one of the trains carries scrap metal or something, because there's always just random stuff. I love taking them walking that way because I find so many pieces of just random metal, and I don't even know what any of it is, but I put it into my art.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's really
Sounds
cool.
fun.
It's so fun. It's like playing when I do. So I also do those mosaics, and I feel like I love puzzles, and they feel like puzzles to me. It just feels like playtime.
Back to the art shows and festivals. Do you do any that are juried, that you have to be juried into, or is it just you pay a fee and
they're all juried?
They're all juried. Okay.
Yeah. And it's really heartbreaking when you don't get in. So that's a bummer. But I mean, I get into enough, but there's some that I have tried to get into that I have yet to get into. So you just have to keep trying.
Every year you apply, and is So there's like an application fee, or is it
There
just
is.
okay?
It's about $35 to $50 per show to apply.
Let's talk about that a little bit because that's something we've never discussed. So they want to see a sample of your work, like so many images, or how's that?
So most of the shows that I apply to are on Zapplication, which is nice because you can upload a bunch of photos for the year and kind of fill out a general application and put all your notes in, and then you can kind of search through the shows. And like it's really organized. So if I think, okay, I want to do a show in California this year, I can just go and look at the shows in California. And then I go to that show and apply, and then I just kind of select the pictures I want, and I just kind of insert everything. It takes maybe 5 minutes to apply to a show because you've got it. You start at the beginning of the year, you just kind of upload everything you want, all your new pictures, and go from there.
And then once you get in and you've been accepted, I assume there's some kind of booth fee that they charge because they have.
Yes, there is. And those range from probably about $350 to $500.
That's not bad as long as you're selling stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
But then you have the expense, and probably people don't think about this, but you have all your traveling expenses. So you have gas,
True.
You have food and lodging.
Mm-hmm.
Do you typically stay in hotels, or do you have, now that you've made a network of friends at these festivals, do you get to stay with other people, or how does that work?
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, if I can stay with friends, absolutely, because that just makes it seem more like a vacation too. So it just depends. A lot of times it's nice to stay in a hotel though too. You can just go and relax. I have some friends that camp, which I'm not really a camper, so I don't do that. Some people sleep in their cars. We're kind of like carnies, there's like the spectrum of like, some people like they pack their lunches, they sleep in their car, they like won't spend any money. And I'm kind of more middle. I like a little bit of, comfort. I won't stay like in the highest end hotel, but I'll stay somewhere where it has a pool and I can kind of relax, because shows are really hard work. You're outside all day, you could be fighting wind and the heat and, working all day. And so it's really nice to be able to go home and take a shower or to go to your hotel. So I'm not sure how they camp and do it. I just couldn't do that.
Yeah, that would be difficult, I would think, especially in Kansas in summertime, right?
Yeah.
It's really humid.
It's crazy. Yeah, I know.
Take 3 showers a day in a place like that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work talking with people. I mean, it's even though it's fun and exciting, but it's still work. I mean, talking to somebody or talking to people for, 8 to 12 hours or whatever it is, it's draining, mentally draining,
Yeah, absolutely.
I worked with a photographer who did shows around the area, and it's a butt kicker. Get there early and set up your tent and hang all his photographs, and then sit around all day talking to everybody about their photographs, then trying to secure everything down for the night and come back and start all over for the next day. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a ton of work. Pack everything back up that you didn't sell. Yeah. So what do you drive? Do you drive a car, a van, 18-wheeler?
I have a super cute Ford F-150.
Okay.
It has the step side, and I've got it down. Like, I've been doing this long enough, and I just want to make things easy for myself. So I can fit everything in this little truck. Like, people have trailers and huge, like trailers they pull. I do not want to pull a trailer. So I take exactly what I can fit into there, and it all kind of just lays flat, and I have a little topper on it and just close it and hit the road.
Nice.
And it sounds like you got it down to a T. How big is your booth then when you go to these places?
It's 10 by 10.
10 by 10?
Mm-hmm.
So at 10 by 10, I know you say that you have, like, you said 200 to 300 pieces that you take typically?
Probably, yeah.
How many can you display at a time in a 10 by 10? And do you have stuff that's set up like in the middle so that people can, other things like in the middle that display your paintings?
Sometimes. So like, the littles are like 8x8, I think. So they're pretty little. And I have this like kind of crate thing that they can flip through. And then usually the panels, I have panels that I have, and it can display on both sides unless there's someone right next to me, but there isn't always. I just kind of, as it sells, I replace it. I don't have it all up at once, but if someone says, hey, I really like this, but I want it smaller, or what else do you have? And they love to come into the back of your booth and flip through your crates. You know, they want to see what's not out. You know, that's always fun.
Sure. Yeah. Because that's like a special thing, right?
Yeah, totally.
Behind the curtain and
yeah,
see all the magic.
exactly.
So I would imagine 10 by 10 is probably a pretty common size. If you had a bigger tent, would that be like 2 booths then you'd have to buy if you did like
yes.
10 by 15 or whatever? Okay.
Exactly.
Just as a side note, I was quoting out 2 10 by 10 tents today. I work for an ad specialty company, so.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, nice. They have a budget of $2,300, so I'm trying to make it fit.
So we talked about a lot of these festivals being canceled, but and then you have the what is it called? Remind me again. The $100 art show.
Affordable Arts Festival.
Affordable Art Festival. Excuse me. And then obviously, I assume you'll do your Christmas party later on in the year.
I think so. We were talking about that, and I mean, it's indoors and it's winter, and I don't know if people will be comfortable, but I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaving it up in the air because I don't know.
I assume that your where you work, your studio is at your house. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so is that like a separate entity, or do you do it out of your garage, or do you have a room devoted to it?
I have the whole basement is my studio, and then also my garage.
Okay. Yeah, that might be difficult this year, but you know what? I feel like you're savvy enough. You'll probably figure that one out.
Well, I actually have been thinking about it, and I thought maybe I'll just do it earlier this year and then maybe hopefully if they do another National Arts Drive where it's outside, just do it outside and just do it before it gets too cold. I mean, I could do it in September, and I think that'd actually be kind of fun. Make it more of a into the summer party or something.
Yeah. Well, even in November, because sometimes we get those really warm months depending on the year. So
that's true.
But yeah, I feel like it's pretty safe outside as long as it's not people on
I
top
know.
of people. And you did it with
I agree.
Bella Luna. So
I did, and it was great. Like, and people just, they kind of, if they were uncomfortable, they stay back, and there's just so much room outside. It just didn't feel unsafe at all.
Yeah.
Christmas in August. You can do Christmas in August.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have little Christmas stuff
That's
hanging
a good
up.
idea. Yeah. Be cute.
Is there anything else going on that you'd like to talk about that you're going to try to participate in or do? Or it sounds like you're kind of just, like you said, you're open to the possibilities and opportunities. And if it's offered up, you're willing to make that happen.
Yeah. I think I'm just keeping my mind open, and it goes back to the universe. Like, I feel like what I need is going to happen when I need it to happen. I had an amazing winter. I did a bunch of commission work, so I had a good savings, and I just kind of keep getting work. So I think I have some ideas, but nothing like I said, maybe an early home party and probably more web stuff. I'll probably promote on Facebook a little bit more. But I've also been really busy with this house. We're trying to get it up like in the next week. So if I'm not painting over there, I'm teaching my nieces art.
And then I assume you're still doing, a fair amount of commissions right now as well?
I don't think I have any right now. I do, another thing that I do, which I allow, is people like to come shop here. So I've had porch pickups. I've had people that were planning on coming to a show. And so I've just kind of made my studio like a shopping area. So people will come by and just shop here.
Oh, that's
fantastic.
Actually
good too. Yeah, it's really nice.
So if people want to, purchase artwork and they want to see what you have in addition to what's on your website, they can make an appointment.
Yes.
Schedule a time with you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I know our buddy Bob, he's been selling art off his porch.
Yep. Yeah.
And
yeah, he does great with that. Exactly. Like there's so many people. I don't even know how I lucked into this neighborhood because I have a big piece on my front porch and people will stop me and be like, where'd you get that? I'm like, come in, come shopping. So there's just so much support right in my community,
that is
which is
so
really
cool.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What part of town do you live in, if I can ask?
I live in Arvada, and I live on the far, let's see, it's northwest. So like Indiana and 86, kind of. Do you know that area?
Yeah. That's a really nice area.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, cool. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us this evening. For our listeners, obviously, check out Lisa's website. Tell us what your website is.
It's lisadiamor.com.
LisaDiAmor.com. I will have that in our episode notes, along with all of Lisa's social media. And if there's anything that you have coming up, Lisa, don't hesitate to reach out to us, and I'll make sure that we get it up on our tenant Facebook page.
Thanks.
One of the things we really like to do is people that we interview, we definitely like to continue to promote you. So if you have any events or anything coming up, you do this, I don't know if you want it out on Facebook, but if you do your party or whatever, we'd be happy to help promote that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much again. To our listeners, be safe out there, buy art, support local art. And for the Tenant Podcast, this is Todd Pearson.
I'm Wes Brown.
Have a great week.